Rogues, rascals, reviewables, rorts, rip-offs, receivers, real estate agents, and much, much more. The Many R's podcast. It's about a whole bunch of R's. And this is Season 1, Episode 7. I'm your presenter, Mark Smith from DC Partners Solutions. Come and visit us on our website anytime, www.dcpartners.solutions/podcast. Otherwise, give us a call, 1300 327 123. Till late, usually. We love talking to people. Or you can instant message chat with us in our website, www.dcpartners.solutions/podcast. Bottom right-hand corner, use the instant message chat tools. Thank you and welcome. All right, so let's just have a quick recap about what is the Many R's podcast about. And it's certainly about all the rat bags and rogues and rip-off artists, and it's sometimes about some receivers, some real estate agents, some rackets, and the likes. But we're certainly here to have a look at some corporate villains. There hasn't been so many travel rip-offs lately, so that's good because we can't travel anywhere. Government malfeasance, well, nothing's specifically come onto our radar, so there's nothing there to talk about. Some iffy lawyers, we're going to get into a little bit of that a little bit later on. Insurance racketeers, all sorts of racketeers and rorts, bankers and receivers. Well, I don't think we've got anything in this specific episode to talk about racketeers, banks and receivers. So let's move on to... Where are we? We're going to have a look at some of the specific things that are on our mind at the moment. So, as I've mentioned in some of the other episodes, I've really got a squeaky chair. I love the squeaky chair. It gets the oil. But it has been a massive year for me personally. It's been, well, obviously this COVID thing, but I've just completed my Juris Doctor to go with my Masters of Business Administration, and I've now embarked onto practical legal training. I'm 1/6 of the way through that, so that's quite exciting. What isn't exciting is lockdown, and one gets the feeling that there's going to be all sorts of things that will become themes in coming months. The lockdown, there's undoubtedly there's reports every night on the news about small business suffering, and so I guess what that means is insolvency, and that just happens to be a space that we've been very interested for a long time in insolvency and pre-insolvency, company structuring, corporations law, and so on. So certainly with my MBA, the Master of Business Administration, I'm sure we can offer some valuable insights. So if you've got a problem involving any of these things, the lockdown, insolvency, JobKeeper, the ATO, tax debts, you name it, Services New South Wales, oh my gosh, getting funds out of them. Well, it's just, obviously, it must be a honeypot for routers, all of these things. So, and yeah, well, look, sure, that probably slows the process down for the honest people. So watch for this to be a theme in coming weeks. Now, Bunnings gift cards. It's probably not the number one rort that comes to mind, but we'll be doing a very small episode segment on the Bunnings gift card rort, and that is absolute rubbish. It is rubbish. That's an R. Hakan Cutup, our great mate from Season 1, Episode 1. I had a look just to see exactly what jail he's in, and no one knows. Well, you can't find out off the services, the correctional services website. Yeah, Hakan's got privacy. But anyway, look, a bit of an update on our old buddy Hakan. There's been orders for the sale of, for possession of his house. So, but he's got the COVID reprieve, so that one's coming up. Now we've got another budding. Matthew James Taunton. Now, whether he's a budding Hakan Cutup or not, time will tell. But Matthew James Taunton from Able Agency was called Wiseberry at Box Hill. Box Hill is in the northwestern suburbs of Sydney. Well, this Matthew James Taunton is one to watch. So if you've had any dealings with Matthew James Taunton, drop us a message on the instant chat tool, www.dcpartners.solutions/podcast. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Matthew James Taunton. I'll make sure we put up a Matthew James Taunton fan club page, Able Agency or Wiseberry Real Estate. So he's our real estate star of the month. Bonnie Glen Fruits and Bernard and Fiona Hall. Well, just the very quickest of updates there. They had a 2-day session in front of the Chief Judge in Equity in the New South Wales Supreme Court there. So, look, I've heard various things, and, apparently it was sensational. So watch this space. AFSL, we're going to touch on that. Now, we're actually, I'm living out in Orange. I think I've mentioned that a number of times, and loving it out here. It's been very cold. And for those that are interested, I do have a heritage blog that you can have a look at. So I think I'll make sure I throw in a link down below on YouTube. It's called the Snowgums Heritage Blog or something. So maybe you just type in Mark Smith Snowgums or something and podcast. So it's a video podcast series and what's been going on. But anyway, look, we're under our AFSL. We're actually very seriously going to put up a hospitality fund. It's going to be extremely low risk, real estate based. We've got some. Well, it won't just be hospitality, I suspect. But anyway, we've expressed a few bits of interest in a couple of projects here in Orange. And look, there's no tourism just at the moment, and like none, obviously because of COVID. But there are, I'm convinced, absolutely wonderful opportunities. We ran an Airbnb here at Snowgums, and for those that are interested, send me a message, instant message chat tool, bottom right hand corner. dcpartners.solutions/snowgums. There you go. I'll make sure that there's a page up, and you can you can park some dollars. Now you have to be a sophisticated or wholesale investor to participate, so it's not open to retail mum and dads. But and look, honestly, the returns are probably going to be fairly low. This is very low risk, but there may well be some good capital returns and some capital growth. Orange is for those that, well, I'll make sure that we put up a whole bunch of links for. Unsurprisingly, regional Australia is apparently booming. So the demand to get out of Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane is gigantic. So I'll make sure I put in every link I can think of. If you want to see a copy of our information memorandum, www.dcpartners.solutions/snowgums, and we'll make sure that you can see that. So, all right, and moving along, we now move on to one of our very favourite R's, and that's Ralph Palagaru. But not to be outdone, John Marnie, Mohan Kumar, and Chotta Rajan. Now, Chotta Rajan is Ralph's best buddy. Ralph will get into the trenches for those he loves, and boy does he love this Mohan Kumar bloke. So Ralph Palagaru, he holds a power of attorney for Mohan Kumar. But who's Mohan Kumar, you might ask? Well, Mohan Kumar was a bloke that entrusted Ralph with his fortune, known as 632 Old Northern Road at Dural, and Mohan Kumar's lawyer was none other than the illustrious and most experienced John Marnie from Marnie Lawyer, or is it Mahoney Lawyers? And anyway, Mr. Mohan Kumar hopped on a plane in October 2015 and landed in Denpasar in Bali, and waiting there was Interpol upon arrival, and he was subsequently extradited off to India, and apparently, according to Interpol, Mohan Kumar is in fact a guy called Chotta Rajan. Well, so that's a bit of excitement for you. Not every day you get to talk about fugitives, and Ralph is besties with a fugitive, and well, Chotta Rajan made all sorts of news in a few months ago. He after episode 6, I think it was, he caught COVID, which is a real problem because if you're dead, Ralph Palagaru can't be your power of attorney, and who knows whether Mohan Kumar has a will. I mean, who knows? So Mohan Kumar is allegedly Chotta Rajan. I don't know. I've never met. I've met John Marnie. I have met Ralph Palagaru. I've never been to India. I don't know. I've never talked to Mohan Kumar. I have no idea if Mohan Kumar is Chotta Rajan, but Interpol thinks so. And Chotta Rajan was diagnosed with COVID when all the India problems were in the thick of things. So I imagine poor old Ralph had a few sleepless nights because with the assistance of John Marnie, John Francis Marnie of Mahoney Law or Marnie Law, Ralph Palagaru is in the Supreme Court of New South Wales running a court case saying that Mohan Kumar has been cheated out of millions and millions of dollars. Now, I don't know whether the John Marnie is, as a super experienced lawyer, and I'm sure he's completely on top of the Felons Civil Proceedings Act. And the Civil Proceedings Act says, well, if you've been convicted of a crime, now Chotta Rajan. Now, this could all be a terrible case of mistaken identity, but Mohan Kumar is being held under the name of, it's not Chotta Rajan, but we'll just call him Chotta Rajan. And Mohan Kumar, that's Ralph Mohan's power of attorney, is being held in the biggest prison in India, apparently, with all the top fugitives, and that does not stop John Marnie and Ralph Palagaru seeking justice for Mohan Kumar, and they've decided to sue the Torrens Assurance Fund. Ralph Palagaru gave away the title deeds to 632 Old Northern Road to our great mate Craig Matthew Adams of Golden Arrow and Bargo Developments. Not to forget that he borrowed personally, was it about $1.6 million from Australasian Property Group. But anyway, Ralph gave away, just handed on a platter, the title deeds to 632 Old Northern Road to his great mate, Craig Matthew Adams. Now, it's unsurprising that he would do this because Craig Matthew Adams and Ralph Palagaro have a very secret side deal where Ralph gets a 20% interest in a private hospital. Not bad. So Ralph also, I can't neglect to mention real estate agents. John Brooks from Brooks Partners. John Brooks from Brooks Partners is an old buddy of Ralph's, and so Ralph gives the listing. He's the power of attorney. He has the entitlement to enter a listing agreement, but he enters a listing agreement, Ralph does, where Ralph gets a kickback. Look, I've gone vague on the details, but it's a property that's sold for allegedly $5.5 million in May of 2016, and Ralph hands over the title deeds to his great mate and 80% secret joint venture partner, Craig Matthew Adams, and in return, he expects a kickback from Brooks Partners. Now, he doesn't get one, but he expects one. And Ralph even asked me to go and sue. He gave me the debt and said, go off and sue, if you wouldn't mind, go off and sue John Brooks from Brooks Partners. And so anyway, it's a long story. Ralph's not a real estate agent, but he's a businessman. According to his affidavits, Ralph is a businessman, and Ralph's the type of businessman that can turn $6 million into, well, $5.5 million into $1.5 million. He's that type of businessman. Not to forget Druketti Timber Mill, which is defunct now. And anyway, all of this apparently entitles. I'm not a lawyer, so or not yet. Anyway, I'm a graduate with a Juris Doctor, and I'm studying. Practical legal training. Sorry, I've gone blank there. So I'm not John Marnie. I don't have his wisdom, and I don't know how that's all the fault of the Torrens Assurance Fund handing Craig Adams the title deeds and handing him withdrawals of caveat and all the rest. But anyway, apparently that is the fault of the Torrens Assurance Fund, and so a fugitive apparently called Mohan Kumar ought to receive millions and millions and millions of dollars from the Torrens Assurance Fund. Well, not to be outdone, Ralph and Amrita have also got their hands out, and they're seeking I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, I suppose, for themselves. So that's what Ralph's been up to. Now, his defunct company called Dural Alliances, you may remember Ralph put up his family home and borrowed money, $540,000 at 6% interest a month. It's really exciting to do that. It's thrilling and hair-raising and all the rest. And then just to add to the excitement, well, why wouldn't you give that $540,000 to Craig Matthew Adams? Because Australasian Property Group, APG, that's Maya and Ian Jordan, that's their company from Singapore. Well, they've given Craig Matthew Adams $1.6 million, or maybe it's $1.5 million, as a personal loan, unsecured. I mean, wow. So anyway, that turns magically. Now, they didn't have John Marnie as a lawyer. They had the wonderful, excellent multinational law firm called Baker McKenzie. And now, I'm certainly not saying that John Marnie is in the same class as Baker McKenzie. But anyway, maybe they're, who knows? Anyway, well, Bargo got wound up, as did Golden Arrow. So unfortunately, Ralph's $540,000 is gone, but the 6% interest a month bill, that's still there. And so that's when we come to the bankruptcy update a little bit further down below. But anyway, so Golden Arrow and Bargo are in liquidation, and I'll make sure we publish, I'll give you a look at the documents. There was a wonderful creditors meeting I went to a couple of weeks ago by telephone. That's what you do in the COVID era. And the liquidator of Golden Arrow and Bargo has a giant fat pile of money now to go litigation funding and to get back Ralph's $540,000. Except, that went to APG, and APG, as I said, they didn't have John Marnie as a lawyer. They had Baker McKenzie, and they were able to turn a private loan into a secured interest for no consideration in a wonderful piece of land in Warriewood, and they happened to jump the queue in front of poor old Ralph, only to the tune of $540,000. And they jumped the queue, and I think they walked out with $700,000 of Bargo's money for no consideration. How wonderful is that? So that's what you get with Baker McKenzie. I mean, they are geniuses. APG that's Australasian Property Group. Ian Jordan and Maya, I cannot pronounce her surname, but wonderful lady. I've met them both. I've sat in their boardroom in Singapore, and they are high flyers. In fact, is it Merrill Lynch or KKR or one of those mobs are their investors, and these guys are very bright, and haven't they got wonderful lawyers? Heading off to Draceti Timber Mill now. I don't know how Ralph's. I can't give you any updates because of COVID. It's just been terrible. But Draceti Timber Mill had the unfortunate event of a cyclone smashing it to bits, and I don't know whether there was any sleepless nights for Ian Jordan, because Ian Jordan from Australasian Property Group, the same bloke that loaned Craig Matthew Adams, was it $1.5 or $1.6 million unsecured, and then turned that into a security interest in Moen Kumar's. I mean, this is the most incestuous, crazy story. But anyway, it gets even crazier. Ralph and Ian Jordan head off to Fiji and go and start a company. So Ian Jordan from Singapore decides to go to Fiji because he's always wanted to, and go into business with Ralph. And I'm sure that it had absolutely nothing to do with the $700,000 that APG walked out for of Bargo's money that once upon a time was part of Moen Kumar's fortune. Well, it's a very sad and tragic story. Well, maybe now, once lockdown's over, Ralph has, today's Friday the 13th of August. Well, Ralph has been repatriated back to Australia, apparently. I'm not in Sydney. I haven't been able to catch up with my great mate Ralph. But maybe Ralph and Ian Jordan can talk about their joint venture business in Fiji, how things are going, and Ralph may be able to commiserate with APG about having to face having to hand back the $1.6 million or $1.5 million of preference monies allegedly that they've got from Craig Matthew Adams and Bargo and Golden Arrow. So it's all very, very exciting. Bankruptcy update now. I can't say too much because this is before the courts, but maybe I can just say, as a matter of fact, Ralph has signed a consent judgment, so he consented to the entry of a judgment in the event he didn't pay back money. And surprise, surprise, Ralph didn't pay back money. So anyway, he borrowed a whole heap of money from Reliance Leasing, who have a wonderful director, a man called Gary Steinberg, who Gary has been very near to my heart in past years. And what could I say? Ralph has known Gary longer than me, so that is a fact. And so, look, maybe in the next episode we'll talk about some of the past tricks. We'll just what I can say about the bankruptcy, it's been held up. So Ralph borrowed a whole bunch of money from Reliance Leasing and Gary Steinberg in August. Well, no, it goes back to like 2012 or 2011 or sometime then. Is that a decade ago? I mean, anyway, so come August 2016, gets rolled over. Correction. Ralph and Amrita and their company. Their company. I think so. I think the company was called Ralph Pelligari Proprietary Limited or something like that. And there's another R. And Ralph ran a photocopying business, and so Ralph was really good at imaging. Let's just put it that way. Ralph was very good at imaging, and well, you might have to wait until episode 8 to find out some of the details. Coming back to the bankruptcy update. As I said, Ralph and Gary Steinberg have known each other for longer than I have. Okay, so I met Ralph in March of 2017. I met Gary, I guess, in probably 2014, and or thereabouts, maybe 13, 14, 15, sometime there. So let's say 14. I'd say it was 14. And well, for longer than that, Ralph Pelligari Proprietary Limited owed Reliance Leasing money. So I imagine this is sort of ticking up interest and all the rest. And anyway, 2016, Ralph gets a wonderful deal. Miraculously, around the same time, Ralph gets a wonderful interest-free loan. I know all these details because they've been part of particulars that have been read in open court. Ralph gets a interest-free loan in excess of $100,000 from 2016, and it's interest-free for 1 year, provided that you pay the money back. Okay, so otherwise it becomes an 18% per annum loan. Well, it's now the 13th of August 2021. How much do you think Ralph has paid back? Ralph hasn't made. There's been some court-ordered payments, but Ralph hasn't made a single monthly instalment. And of course, his wonderful lawyer, Mr. Marnie, has this incredible vanishing caveat trick. So again, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't been a lawyer for 40 years like John Marnie, but John, no doubt, can explain that. And anyway, let's catch up on this in episode 8 because it's a wonderful, wonderful story. But just to whet the appetite, look, I might pop up the judgment, and you can do some reading ahead if you like, if you're that keen. So that's it for Series 1, Season 1, Episode 7 of the Many R's podcast. I hope you've had an excellent time. If you've got any questions or you've got any information, you've been to Tihar Jail, you've heard of Mohan Kumar, you're a fan of... Oh, they're making a movie. They're making a movie on Chottarajan, apparently. So it's some sort of... underbelly series of fugitives in India. So that's all very exciting. If you know Craig Matthew Adams, if you know Druketti Timber Mill, maybe you're one of the creditors of the Druketti Timber Mill. Maybe you shared some time with Ralph in ISO, in what's it called, quarantine, in hotel quarantine. Does Ralph owe you money? So Ralph's milking the system brilliantly, and so managing to avoid bankruptcy for the time being. So let's watch this space, and let's see. We'll learn in episode 8 about some of the tricks that maybe he got up to. Maybe a Copy World at in wherever it was, Seven Hills, I think it was. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time on the Many R's podcast. If you've got any questions, as I said, give us a call, 1300 327 123, or go to our bottom right-hand corner, instant message us or instant chat with us on dcpartners.solutions/podcast. Thank you.